Hello, and welcome to Stories with Dice, an actual play podcast of some of our favorite tabletop role-playing games.
Welcome back for our second episode of Tales of the Loop. We'll just get straight into it, shall we? So where we left off last time, the kids were vaguely excited about seeing this knockoff version of the Transformers. Important because it is a local company that is making these machines or little toys, which sort of like transfer from everyday kind of things like helmets to military aircraft into robots. They are a local company, a local person who's designed them, and the kids have decided that they're going to go and either mock them mercilessly or buy them. And so that's where we find the kids this morning, all getting ready on their first day of their Easter break, ready to kind of start the day, to kind of all meet up at the toy store in Stanhammer, where they all live. I'm only going to take two of you, one of them being Johannes. What is he going to do this morning? What of his daily life, daily grind that he really despises does he have to do, even though he's actually on holiday?
Something he'd have to do every day. Maybe like has to walk the dog, let's say. Let's say there's a dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
What kind of dog do I have? Let's say like a small yappy one.
Okay. Do you like the dog?
Not particularly. It is small and very yappy.
And what's the name of the dog?
Svetlana.
Svetlana. Cool. Okay. Svetlana, the little yappy dog. You know you have to be out for a certain amount of time, walk that dog, and bring it back so that it's done all its business and is relatively tired for your parents to deal with.
Staring at the dog, being like, come on. Ooh.
Okay. Yep. It's a lovely chore. And I'm going to go to Sven. What will Sven do in the morning?
Not much. Just wake up, get his breakfast, smoke a cigarette, just listen to some music. Just wait for the time to go. Watch TV.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Your dad comes back from work and he's tired, he's annoyed, but he doesn't really kind of acknowledge you and he sort of like goes straight to bed.
Yeah, I just hide my cigarette, perhaps. I mean, at least I don't want to see him that I'm
He doesn't seem
smoking.
to have noticed.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't seem to have noticed. He's just completely ignored you and gone straight to bed. Anthony, are you going to take one of your Transformers with you to compare them to these toys, or are you going to leave that at home?
I'm definitely bringing Optimus Prime with me.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you're going to bring Optimus Prime with you. Show how it's really done. Yeah, you all kind of meet up at 11:30, maybe a little beforehand. How are you going to get there, first of all? Are you biking it? Are you walking? Because it is within walking distance. Asking a parent for a lift? Getting the bus? Well, you probably don't need to really get the bus.
If it's walking distance, I'm just going to walk, and I'll have my headphones and my backpack with Optimus Prime in it.
Cool. What about Anders?
I'll be on my bike because I probably got up, had breakfast quietly so as not to wake mother. Father heads off for work. I would have popped round to see grandfather on my way into town, just to check what the plan is over the holidays, and then head on into town on my bike.
Amazing. Off you head. You will make your way into town, and there's a queue of probably about 40 kids and some parents, all sort of like waiting in a queue. And as you kind of arrive, there's sort of like a slightly separated queue for VIP members, and then you've got the rest of the rabble behind them. And as you kind of walk towards the VIP area, which is, what you expect Johannes to have sorted out, you can see there is a kid who is sort of like got thick wavy hair, sort of like short and heavy looking. You know his name is Alvin Nordstrom, and he is a kid who absolutely does not like you. And as you sort of sees you kind of like walking past, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't go there."
It's fine. We have a business arrangement with the owners.
What? He kind of looks at the others and goes, "Business arrangement? What kind of business arrangement?"
And I move forward and I say, is there a problem here?
Have you two had sort of like any kind of like dealings with each other before?
Don't know.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah, and I'm like, if my friend says that he has an arrangement, he has an arrangement.
Okay.
I'm crossing my arms, in front of this guy.
He looks at you and he kind of takes a couple of steps back, goes, all right, Sven, all right. And he kind of like talks to a couple of his mates, but not loud enough to kind of make any sense, but loud enough to know that he was complaining about you guys. And you kind of like make your way to sort of like the VIP area. Yeah, so you can see the door to sort of like the toy shop. It's sort of like on the corner of the road, and the little toy shop is just this sweet little store. It's just on a sort of like edge of town. It's the only toy store around. As I said, it's run by Annette and Henrik Liensen, who are a married couple. They're sort of like in their sort of like mid to late 30s. They're really old people. And yeah, there's this glass door, and it's got sort of a load of like posters and stuff from, there's like some Garbage Pail Kid posters. There's loads of comic books, sort of like front covers that are sort of like stuck on there. There's some VHS sort of like front covers as well on some of the other bits. There's like some pictures of someone who looks like who's come along and drawn on the wall of various different knockoff toys, I suppose. And you know that, you've been in here before. For those who have been, it's a small store, but it's got sort of like a large fronted window on the other side of the toy store, away from the road, which kind of looks into sort of like a bus stop. And that's where all the kind of toys and all the latest new releases and stuff all get stuck. They're all in there. And so you're just waiting around, and you don't have to wait long. You're kind of like chatting. There's probably another sort of like 5 or 6 other kids in the VIP section, along with some people. You can see that both the owners are kind of having a bit of an argument. You can see that in that doorway, that glass doorway, there's a whole bunch of blurb about the co-creators and everyone being here to kind of welcome everyone and hand out the first 20 of these toys for free. Anything else would be that you'd have to pay for them. And you can see that the two owners are sort of like having a bit of an argument, which is kind of a bit uncomfortable because a lot of you come from homes where parents are arguing, and the door sort of like opens up just a little bit, and you can hear Annette say to Henrik, well, they said they were going to be here. Why aren't they here? Look, honey, I don't know what to say. I'm trying to get hold of them, but I just can't seem to get hold of them. But what we're going to do? Well, we're going to have to go ahead without them. Yeah, but a load of people want to come and see them. They're going to do some like signings. We've got a whole bunch of their comics that are in. I mean, what are we going to do? Jeez, this is a nightmare, says one of them. Henrik says, I'll give them another call and I'll see what I can do. But we've got to open up in 5 minutes. So, shit. And then Annette sees the doors slightly open, sees one of you, in fact, makes eye contact with you, Anthony, smiles, and then pulls the door shut, and then wanders back into the store, wandering over to speak to her husband. Leave you guys standing outside.
What was that all about?
You know them, right?
Oh, yes, we bought things from them before. We have a pre-existing business arrangement. Yes, that's the word.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Anthony rolls his eyes when you say that.
I don't get what you're saying.
He sort of puts his finger up to try and explain it, but then he realizes he doesn't actually properly know what that meant.
I'm taking the plan was to kind of get a couple of the free toys and then sell them on. Is the plan?
Yeah, and do you see the toys? I'm trying to look through the glass or.
You look through the shop front. It looks straight into the cashier's desk through the glass, but you can see behind the cashiers, or in front of the cashier's desk, in the window, there's a bunch of these toys. There's also a large cardboard cutout in the actual store of one of the main leaders. You kind of have a look. They look all right. They look exactly you'd expect them to look like. but they're in boxes, so it's difficult to really tell until you can kind of like get them out of the box. But they seem well made.
The other kids that are around us, can I have a quick chat with them and see what stuff they're excited about to kind of gauge what people are interested in?
Yep, you can.
I'd be like, which one do you think's the best?
Make a charm roll for me, please. So again, if you look at your character sheet, you'll have charm as a skill, which I think is under heart.
Yes, that is correct.
So because we're using Foundry, if you want to click on charm and make a roll for me. And again, you're looking for 6s.
So this is one of my better skills. So
Woohoo!
1 success out of 8.
Hooray! Well, that's okay. So the system requires you to have 1 success. You got 1 success, so that's great. Yeah, so they're all talking about it. When you're listening to them, they're all really excited because the main sort of like leaders blatantly ripped off. So Megaton Prime for the Deceivers and Equius Optimus, which is a large carrier truck. Megaton Prime is a large futuristic cannon that fires lasers. They're really kind of interested in those because they're like kind of the big sort of like multi pull apart ones that really kind of do all the extra bits. They kind of come with little extra weapons and sort of like little missiles and stuff. So they're really keen to get hold of those. They were designed by the lady called Helena Voss, and she actually designed a load of the robots that are used in the loop. So they used a lot of the kind of same sort of designs as them. So it should be very, very exact. She was apparently sort of this bigwig engineer in the loop that then ended off wandering off to design toys for companies. So they're really excited about that. They're really excited about the cool stuff. So it seems that the Deceivers are way more cooler than the convoys. A lot of the kids are like, oh yeah, well, yeah, you've got those, but they're all a bit goody two shoes. They're not like, the Verticamp Crux, which is the military helicopter, that's sort of like a Sea Knight helicopter that kind of like converts the rotor blades, turn into like a big sort of like sword, and they're all really kind of like rah. Whereas the equivalent over on the other side turns into sort of like a pair of a white roller skate with a large blue sail. Yeah, it's not quite the same. So everyone's really keen for sort of like the really sort of like, hardcore sort of military sort of like types. So everyone's really happy about the Deceivers, even though they're the bad guys, but they're definitely the cool ones.
I will relay that to everyone, saying the hot option is the Deceiver ones. If you can grab those, if you don't want them, those are the ones that people want.
They are indeed. So yeah, you're kind of all standing there. You're kind of like talking about that. You're kind of like waiting for this thing to happen, and then just before the store opens, one of your other colleagues turns up. Sol, welcome.
Hello.
Sorry to hear that you had such terrible trouble with the transport.
I know, disaster. But I mean, it's method acting, right? We've just been. Clearly my character's been doing something quite tiring.
Yeah, you've come all the way from Uppsala up north, and so you've just arrived back in town to hear that there's a new line of toys being opened at the local toy shop, and so you've managed to get here. You turned up this morning and you got home. The first thing you wanted to do was catch up and see what was going on. And yeah, you have done that. Could you do me, I'm going to throw you straight into the fire here, Sol. Could you give me a description of your character, what they look like, and a brief rundown of your sort of like key points? What makes you different to any other kid? Is there any issues going on in your life? And how you know the rest of them?
Sure. Well, I am playing a 14-year-old girl called Susie. Now, her issue is she's actually new in town. So the answer is to how I know these. I probably don't know them very well. I know of them, and sort of her problem with being new in town is she wants to be known. So her drive to go out and interact with the kids and I don't know, perhaps the mysteries that we might be solving, is that she wants to, sort of try and impress and make friends, essentially. She wears a denim jacket covered in patches, got blonde hair in a loose bun, and her fingers are filled with rings. She's a little quiet, at times, but if you get her on a topic that she loves, she can talk for days. I'm playing the archetype of rocker, but I'm not your typical rocker. She just really loves music.
Okay, cool. It turns out your mum has managed to get you VIP tickets to the opening of the new toys, which are, as you already heard, a knockoff version of the Transformers. And so you actually get, you've got your little ticket, and you can go into the VIP section where there's these kids who you know from school and you probably know in passing. And, you know, a handful of other kids are all waiting to kind of go in and be the first to get in there and actually get a free toy, which is very cool. So you probably know of them. You and, in fact, this other kid that hangs around, a kid by the name of Anthony, who's a lot younger than the rest of you, probably arrived in town at the same sort of time. So there might be sort of like, you know, you're both new. He, though, is from the States. I don't know where Susie is from.
No, Susie is from from somewhere else in Sweden. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of cool. You know, an American in Stanhammer, always good. And you know the others in passing, probably. How does Anders know Susie? What's your connection?
Probably in one of the same classes at school.
Okay, that
Probably
makes sense.
studying a name like religious studies or something like that.
Okay, cool. What about Johannes?
Well, I'm seeing that music and mixtapes are sort of her thing, so maybe she's come to Johannes to get music, which he's got from, whatchamacallit, Sven and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Sven?
Spirit cassettes.
I think that would probably make sense.
Yep.
If we're gonna say that Susie's from sort of, you know, background Sweden, you know, in the middle of nowhere, she really got into music just through her like parents' collections, but that's really running dry now, and finding someone else to share some new tastes with is probably something she would do. So
Johannes and Sven would be your in on that one. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Well, we'll just leave it there because that's nice and straightforward. So yeah, you're in this little VIP section. The door sort of opens, and Annette comes out, the one of the owners, and she says, "Welcome. Can I have your attention? Can I have your attention, please? I'm really sorry to have to tell you, but Ulla and Helena will not be joining us. I'm really, really sorry, everyone." You hear like some, "Oh no, what, where, how, what's going on?" And she says, "It's nothing to worry about. It's just unfortunately they just at the last minute they were called away. There's nothing we can do, but that's okay because everyone other than the ones that are here, we're going to give you 5% of all of the things you find today up until," and she looks at her watch, "until 4:00 this afternoon. So please, come on in." But, you know, as you know, we're not like the biggest shop. So if I take the first, you 5, and points to you lot, if you want to come in first, and she kind of looks at you, Johannes, and goes, "Yeah, you come in first, and then we'll take it from there." She then ushers you all in.
My kind of feeling with Susie is she's come here because her mum has bought her tickets, even though she didn't really want to go. It's not really her cup of tea. So as they said, like you 5, like Susie was like, "Oh, me? God, we'll still wander through."
Yeah, so she kind of like brings you in, and the store itself has got like the one set of glass doors. There's the glass frontage, and then as you go in, it's quite a small store. Space between the shelves is very crowded. All the shelves have got like they're stacked ceiling to floor, and there is a lot of stuff. It looks like someone's ordered a lot of things, and they basically shoved them wherever they possibly can. There's like a bit of a meandering pathway through all the shelves, and it's quite easy to kind of like get a little bit turned around because you can't really. There's no real way to kind of like judge where you are in the store. So there's a load of painted arrows, sort of like it on the floor, sort of going this way around. So they've kind of like made it so it can be a bit of a circuit, and it's made in the sort of like bright electric pink color. All the lighting inside probably was quite good until the couple put all the boxes right next to the lighting. So it's all kind of like made it a bit dingy and a bit dark. It just looks like they've got too much stock for the size of the store they have. but it is the only store that's on the island that sells toys. And you can see there's a door at the back that says private. You can't see Henrik, who is the other owner. You can just see Annette, and she's basically, once she's let you in, has gone behind the cashier to let you browse. There is a large stack of these toys. Have at it, she says. And she points you over to the stack of toys.
So Anthony goes and finds the knockoff of Optimus Prime. What's the name of that toy?
What do you mean then? How dare you? How dare you? Equius Optimus is his name.
My question is, does Douglas actually follow the painted strips along the floor, or do you just go straight for it, ignoring them?
Oh, well, he's looking, we're looking for Deceptors because that is the hot product.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could see them from here, maybe I might beeline for that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of the deceivers that you can see. And you're like, right, I'm going to go straight for that. Okay.
Yeah, and I know it's Megaton Prime or whatever it is.
Megaton Prime, indeed. The futuristic cannon with triple toy lasers. That's the one. Yeah, there is surprisingly only one of those. There appears to be a lot of the convoys versus the number of deceivers. Yeah, you managed to find one. Anthony's found one. Tony, what's yours?
I'm not in the slightest interested in all this stuff, all these toys. This is for 10-year-old kid.
Come on, Sven. Just grab one. That one there. I know you don't care. Just grab it.
Just tell me, Johannes, just tell me which one I take for our business, okay? Just tell me.
Here, you take this one, and I'll pick out one for him.
Okay.
You randomly pick out one.
And if anyone asks, it's your favorite.
You randomly pick out one, and that one is a white popcorn machine with orange plastic lid, and you pick out another one, which looks like a red nail gun. And it's called Automata Nil.
Susie's probably doing very much the similar to Sven, like picking them up, kind of looking at them. This really is not her cup of tea, but she's sort of, I guess, seeing Douglas be enthusiastic about some. It's just picking them up, seeing what he's saying about them. But if I'm going to pick any of them, what Susie's actually doing is trying to pick apart sort of the most complex ones, the ones that are probably the most mechanically complex.
There's a large alter ego, which is a huge oil platform that can be turned into a mechanical spindle. There's a big sticker on the front that says, "This is exempt from the free selection."
I pick it up, sort of, or like press some things on it, make it kind of move.
Yeah.
And then realizing the sign, kind of like, oh well.
Pete, what are you doing? What's Angus doing?
Well, initially disinterested when I walked in, but then sort of familiar memories come back of happier times in the family and buying my first toy tractor.
Oh.
So I walk up behind the others and I just start picking them up and looking at these things, see if there's anything that catches my interest.
I think there is actually. Well, there is a tractor. The Sedimenta is a yellow-orange excavator with a bucket on the end. So yeah, that's the closest you're probably going to get to a tractor.
So I lift that up and look across to Johannes and say, "This any good?"
Do I think it's any good?
It's all right. I mean, it's not as cool as the military helicopter or the black snowmobile that's on the Deceiver's end, but yeah, I mean, it's all right.
You pick whatever you like.
Well, it's got to make us money, though, hasn't it?
Well, if you want to get that, if it's Deceivers are the ones you want to go for.
Fair enough. So I'll put that down and grab nearest Deceiver one.
All right.
I pull out my Optimus Prime figure from my backpack and set it beside. I forget the name of the knockoff again. I'm sorry, but my Optimus Prime talks. So I set it down and I push the button that makes it speak, and it says, "Freedom is the right of all sentient beings."
In which case, you can see that Annette kind of was like, "What? No, don't bring that in here."
Why not? It's mine.
She says, well, we don't want to get it lost amongst all these others.
Oh, don't worry. We'll all be able to know the knockoff from the real thing.
She realizes that there's nothing she can actually do, and she's like, all right, it's fine. She looks around to make sure there's no one else. It's just you kids. And the phone rings, and she wanders back to the cashier's desk and picks up the phone.
Is Hendrix around somewhere, or is he disappeared?
You can see sort of like some movement in the other room that says private. The door is sort of like partially open, and you see sort of like someone moving around in the back. And as you do that, you can see that the Hendrik comes out and he sort of like almost stumbles into you. He goes, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry." He looks really annoyed. And he basically walks up the aisle the wrong way against the flow of traffic and wander off to the cashier. And as he's done that, the door's left open, and you can see in the storage area behind, there are a load of these toy boxes, but they're all missing the toys from the boxes. There's a bunch of deceivers and a bunch of the convoys that are all sort of like broken open and just laying around the storage room. Did you want to do anything?
Is there any sign of like the actual toys themselves in the room? I stick my head in.
You stick your head in. It's the holy grail of toy shops, the storage room. It's much of the same as the others, less tidy, less clean. But you can see there's a bunch of opened boxes, like big brown cardboard boxes. And there's a load of like toy boxes with all the packaging from the toys in. And you can see that there's a load of the convoys, like the toys, all scattered around the floor. Some of them have got like their arms pulled off. Some of the sort of like the parts of the crane have been ripped up, and there's like a spool of sort of like the wire from one of the cranes. It looks like someone's basically come in and trashed the place. You can see sort of like behind there's another door and what looks like maybe sort of like a shutter. And it looks like, to your mind, someone's come in, basically broken in and damaged all the toys.
What are you looking at, Johannes?
Oh, I'm just having a look at how the business functions. They seem to have a lot of damaged stock. Yes, he nods.
Damaged stock. You really talk weird.
Yeah, well, a bunch of broken toys.
Okay. Toys, okay.
Yeah, because they're cheap knockoffs.
I don't know. It looks like if it was someone playing with them, they were playing with them pretty hard. Look for yourself.
You can like stick your head in. Yeah, you can see there's a little office and then there's a storage room. And they're just pulled apart and all over the floor.
Is the store manager around?
They seem to be very distracted and having a conversation quietly at the cashier's desk.
I'm gonna sort of wander back across the room to the cashier. I haven't got a toy in my hands.
As you get there, you hear Annette says to Henrik, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Yeah, a bunch of them. They've all been damaged, and we're missing a load. Someone's obviously broken into the back somehow and stolen them all. I can't believe it. I mean, who would do that?" And then they turn to you as you've turned up to the cashier. "Yes?"
Are you selling the parts of toys from the back room? Like, I would happily purchase a box of them.
He says, "What?" And he looks over, and obviously as he looks over, you can see obviously the rest of the kids like peering in the back. I'm taking it you haven't crossed the threshold. You're just kind of like peering through the door kind of thing. Or have any of you actually gone into the storage room?
I might have gone inside.
If Sven went inside, then I followed him.
I'll still be peering around the corner, so I will be visible.
Anthony, could you please make an investigate roll? So it's your mind plus investigate. And Sven, because you're there, you can help with that. So I'm just going to give you an extra +1, Anthony. Well, that looks like 2 successes to me. As you're looking around, the thing that you can see is a lot of the toys that are missing are the deceivers. A lot of the toys, in fact, almost all the toys that are damaged are convoys. And that's what you both see as you then hear, "Oi, kids."
Do I have a chance to grab one of the broken pieces and like put it in my pocket or something without being seen?
Sure. That's not a problem. Yeah, they like scattered all over the floor, on some boxes, on some shelves. You just grab a piece and just pocket it. That's fine. I guess Sven is in there as well. Do you want to do anything?
Yeah, we'll turn around and say, "Well, it looks like you have a case of vandalism in your store. I wonder who did this."
It wasn't
Right.
you, right, Sven? And I like elbow him, like I'm trying to make trying to be funny and buddies and in an awkward way.
What's Johannes and Anders doing? Because you're obviously in the doorway.
Once we'd been noticed, I'll just start taking my The one I picked up towards the cashier.
Yeah, similar to Sim is it's just like, oh, it's like, whoop, no, away from the door.
Okay. Henrik comes down to sort of like the private entrance desk into the storage room. And he's like, you lot, get out of there.
Susie's quite embarrassed that she kind of got the others in trouble. But is still just sort of standing there, still waiting for an answer to her question.
Annette looks at you and says, sorry, what was the question?
I just wondered if we could buy the bits instead of the toys.
I'd probably say no, because we'll probably have to like send them back to the factory.
They arrive like this?
She then sort of like starts waffling on about insurance and a lot of boring things that adults talk about.
I grab the nearest toy and put it on the counter.
Henrik comes running over to the rest of you and says, come on, out, out, out. Enough of that lip, he says to you, Sven. Come on, get out of there. He's like kind of like ushering you out of the storage room.
Why would only your Autobot knockoffs be damaged? Don't you think that's weird?
I don't know. I just get out of there.
Fine, whatever.
I'm like, whatever.
Transformers are better anyway.
You mope all the way back to the cashier's desk and you give your toys to Annette, who basically says, yeah, that's fine. Gives you each a little plastic bag that says Toy Corner on with the address on, and a little kind of like flyer for the comic book, and sees you very quickly out of the store.
And I'm like, but wait, I didn't even check your role-playing game section.
Come back later.
As if.
You do sort of like catch a glance of the very corner of the role-playing section as you kind of like get hustled out, and the next 5 kids get pulled in, leaving you off to the side in the front of the shop.
Yeah, when I'm outside, I give to Johannes my toys, like, get a good price. Same deal as always.
Yeah, I'll hand mine over as well. And then I'll look back at the crowd outside the shop and then point out that everybody seems to be here. I guess that means there's nobody at the ice cream shop. Anybody fancy going there?
Ooh, we could dine and dash.
What?
You guys don't dine and dash here, man?
Not round here. Everybody knows us.
Yeah. We have to live with these people.
Was that Sven and Anders and Johannes? Yeah, that's fine. We'll just charge the parents.
I think Susie was already waiting outside by the time the rest got ushered out.
Sure.
They'd gone through that. Chooses not to hear what she just heard and goes, you're going for ice cream?
Sure, you coming?
With my arm full of toys, I will make direct eye contact with Alvin as we leave.
Alvin kind of gives you evil stares back because he's not in the VIP section, so he's going to have to pay for his.
But there's only one of this one, so I don't know. Well, maybe someone will find where all the other stock's been taken. But if we don't find it, the value of these go up.
Oh, I like where you're going with that.
If nobody ever solves the mystery, these are worth a fortune.
Okay, you all make your way to the ice cream shop. It's actually called the ice cream shop. It's got some very nice seating outside, but it's probably a bit too cold for that today. It's probably sort of about 10, 12 degrees. So you kind of make your way indoors, and with your various pocket money that you haven't spent on toys, you get yourself some ice cream and settle down into a corner booth. It's very much of the American diner look. So yeah, you can kind of like sit into a booth, which comfortably seats all of you.
I'll pull out that broken piece that I lifted and start checking it out in between eating my ice cream.
Cool. Do you have any kind of tinkering skill?
I have 1 in tinkering.
Cool. If you want to make a tinker roll for me. Well, look at that. It's a little bit heavier than you would expect. And then when you look into it, you can see there's like lots of little cabling that's going into the leg. What looks like little miniature servos.
Whoa, check this out. This is like real high-tech stuff.
After Susie has finished her ice cream incredibly quickly, she's sort of had sort of a similar idea, except she's doing it with the new toy. So she's taking it out of the packaging. It's sat on probably on the right hand side of the booth, so on the outside. And as they're all distracted by that, you just hear a crunch as she slams it against the table edge to try and get the head off or whatever, and see how it works inside.
If you didn't want it, you could have just given it to me, and I'd given you a bit of money for it.
She looks at all of you, just what? And then starts peering inside of it.
You start peering inside of it. It's made of plastic and a little bit of metal and looks like a toy.
She sighs. Ah, well. And just sort of puts the broken toy on top of the box.
I'll take a look at it, and then can I notice that Susie's toy is sort of less complicated, I guess, or less technically complicated than the broken piece that I stole?
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't take much. Once you've seen what the piece that you have compared to Susie's toy, 100%, it's like very different. It's also a lot lighter.
They're supposed to be the same manufacturer, the same brand.
Yep, same boxes.
The same
that you could see.
Toy line is the same. Okay, so
Hey, let me have a look at it, Anthony.
yeah, I mean, sure. Why would this one be so different inside? Why would they put all this fancy tech inside a toy, but then not do it for all of them? That doesn't make any sense.
Maybe it's like special competition one or something like that. They 1 in a million or something like that they make fancy.
Can I have a look to see if there's any manufacturer's marks on any of these servos or chips or anything inside it?
Yes, you kind of have a look. You don't really have the right tools. It's really, you can see there's like small scratchings and stuff, but you can't really read it. You'd need some sort of like magnifying glass or something like that to kind of see it, which you don't have. But you know where you do have that?
Yeah, back at the base.
Back at the base.
We'll have a closer look at it once we get back there.
Can I come?
I don't know, guys. What do you think? Are we going to let a girl in?
You'd have to agree to become an equal equity partner within the corporation.
Does it mean we'll still buy ice cream with the winnings?
Yes.
Then I think I can agree to that.
Looks like you got yourself a new business partner.
Everyone is an equal equity partner within the company. What's
It-
good for the company is good for everyone.
It's quite clear that Susie's agreeing, but she's very appreciating it as a tongue-in-cheek thing. Like,
Oh, it's-
yeah, sure. No,
It's genuine for
I'm aware it's not, but she's seeing it as like, yeah, all right, I'll play your little game.
I'll look across to Sven to see what he thinks about this.
Yeah, whatever. I'm like, I don't care.
I'm too cool to care.
It's fine by me then.
You kind of like see Eric kind of like wander over, who is one of the guy who served you the ice cream. And he comes over to you and says, have you seen Magnus?
Magnus? No, I haven't seen him since yesterday.
He hasn't turned up for his shift. I know
What?
you're always talking to him. So I just want to know if you knew where he was.
No. Do you know where he lives?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go by and see where he is?
If you guys wouldn't mind,
Not at all. But at least I don't mind.
tell him to get his ass in here. If he's not here for tomorrow's shift, he can find another job. Well, that's not from me. That's from the boss.
Okay, so I will get the address. Guys, you want to come with me or should I go alone and meet you in the hideout?
I didn't have anything really planned for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I guess we're in no hurry.
So I'll take the bike and go to Magnus.
Well, presuming some of you don't have a bike, so you all you're gonna push the bike, presumably while everyone's walking with you. Or you're
No.
just gonna take off and leave the
No,
bike?
they can jump behind. I mean, there are ways to double ride the bike.
Yeah.
How many
It's
bikes we
BMXs,
got?
they can ride on the rear
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
or sit on the
Okay.
handlebars.
So we've got 2 people on one bike, 3 people on one bike. Oh, that's gonna be interesting.
Nah,
Um,
Susie wouldn't be doing that. As you sort of pull away, you're going somewhere else other than to investigate this immediately, right?
Yeah.
She's like, well, we maybe Anthony, we could take that back and have a look at it further sooner, and then the rest could catch up.
Take it where?
But wasn't it at the hideout you had tools or whatnot? Or you could swing by my place. I'm sure I could find my
Your place. A hideout is better, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
not a girl's room.
But we're gonna be alone.
Well, if the rest of them are going the other way, then I guess so. But do you not want to know what do you not want to see what's behind all of these motors and whatnot?
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. I guess.
We'll catch up with you guys later.
Is that cool, Sven?
What is cool?
Sven said it was cool.
What? I didn't say anything. I'm asking, what are you asking?
He just starts going off with Susie.
And then Anders just shouts over, "Don't touch the car."
Or my filing system.
Amazing. Okay.
Do I know where Anders keeps the keys?
Probably not, no.
Okay.
I would imagine that Anders has probably kept that a very closely guarded secret from any of the other kids. In fact, you can't ever remember seeing keys that he's ever had. So you and Susie make your way back to the hideout. The other three make your way to Magnus's place. Magnus's place is just on the outskirts of town, probably about as far away from the toy shop as you can get. You kind of like turn off down this little road, and you come to sort of like a cul-de-sac of 6 or 7 houses, one of them which is Magnus's. You can see there's sort of like a couple of, there's a toy swing in the front of the garden, and there's a little tiny veranda, and you can see that there's a door with like a fly sheet kind of thing at the front of it, and it looks quiet. It's a Tuesday. It's the middle of the day. Parents and stuff will probably be at work, or they'll be looking after their kids. But weirdly, there are no other kids sort of like let around. You can't hear anyone else playing in their gardens, and you kind of get to the door. It's got a very kind of like foreboding feeling to you kids.
So did you say this is a house with a backyard?
Yeah, there's a backyard as well.
Is it easy to reach the backyard, or?
Yeah, you can just go around. There's no fencing or anything, so you can
Okay.
go from the front to the back.
Guys, I'm gonna ask directly, and I
Yeah,
go
go for
to the door, the main door, and ring.
You push the button for the main door. The doorbell goes off, and you wait for a suitable amount of time, but no one seems to come to the door.
I look through the windows.
You look through the windows. You can see sort of like at the front, there's like a lounge. You can see that there is someone laying on the couch, sort of like in a wrap or a throw or a blanket, but they seem to be asleep.
I knock on the glass.
You knock on the glass. Nothing happens.
I go around.
Yeah, you kind of go around and see if there's a back door. What are the other two doing? What's Anders and Johannes doing?
Just standing by the gate, me hands in my pocket, shuffling around.
Just kind of watching whatever Sven's up to. With
Okay.
interest, since he seems to be up to stuff.
You do that thing that all kids do, that you just kind of like, do. We're not doing anything. We're being very kind of, we're acting casual, but not but not actually acting casual. So, Sven, you go around the back. There's a back door. The back door is unlocked.
I go in very carefully.
Okay. You go in very carefully. You kind of like come into sort of like a kitchen area, which then takes you out into sort of like the dining room, which will then take you into the lounge.
I approach the shape on the couch.
You can actually see Magnus's blonde hair sort of all over a pillow, and you can see that he's deeply breathing.
Well, I shake him.
As you shake him really hard, he basically grabs your arm and goes, ah, 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 and starts shouting and screaming and is like, what the hell, and gets up. You two outside can hear all this like commotion going from inside the house. And he kind of looks at you and goes, oh my God, Sven, what are you doing? What are you doing in my house?
I'm like, chill, man, chill. Just came to see if everything is okay with you. I haven't seen you in 2 days.
What? He looks at his wrist as if there's a watch there, but there doesn't appear to be a watch there. And he's like, oh my God, I'm late for work.
Like, for 2 days. I mean, you've been late since yesterday.
You look around and you can see some like beer bottles and stuff sort of like liberally sort of like around the table and on the floor. He looks at you and says, I might have had far too much, perhaps.
Okay, so I'll let you be.
He kind of like wanders to the main door and unlocks it. He goes, I'll have to let them know that I was sick or something. I'll give them a call right now. Cheers, Sven. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
So back at the hideout, you go up the stairs, and the first thing you see is a whole wall of posters of bands, which have all been kind of like put together it's almost starting to become a wallpaper effect. You can see in one corner, there's a bunch of like old rusty looking filing cabinets, and there is electronic junk and mechanical junk on everything. It's all just dotted around. There is a half a body of a child-sized robot, sort of like sitting in the corner, staring out of the room. It's just the sort of like half a leg and sort of like the abdomen and a little bit and an arm and part of the chest. The other half seems to be missing, which is really disconcerting. And it looks like there's loads of wires and various things kind of being pulled out of the robot in various different places. And then there's a stack of little books and one large book, like on a sort of like an old school table or something that's kind of been repurposed, just sitting there as you follow in Anthony.
Isn't this cool? I'm like pointing out to the broken robot in the corner and the band posters on the wall and just sort of like spreading my arms out, and being really awkward.
Yeah, Susie takes out perfume from like her like bag and just gives it a quick couple of sprays just because it's a little bit musty.
I'm like waving my hand in front of my face, like, ew.
So did I can't remember his name? Did he say that there were tools or something?
Yeah, and Anders, he's got some tools around here somewhere. Hey, you want to see my polyhedral dice?
I'm currently looking around for that toolbox that was mentioned. Yeah, sure. Maybe in a second. I gotta pull out the toolbox, hoik it up onto the table, start kind of rummaging through, seeing what's in the toolbox.
Hey, be careful with that stuff. That's not even yours.
I'm like picking things up, looking at it, like putting it on the side. Like she's fascinated by it all.
Yeah, there's some handy tools to help you do electronics and mechanical stuff. It's almost all the right stuff you need.
So I grab the magnifying glass and I kind of I turn to Anthony. I'm like, right, should we have a look at this thing?
Yeah, sure. Do you know what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Do you?
Of course.
That's good to hear. So the leg?
Yeah. The you mean my piece? I'm confused.
Well, it's the only thing we've got to look at.
But what about your piece?
I threw my toy away as soon as we left the ice cream parlor. It was the box and the thing just dumped behind.
But you paid for that. Why would you do that? That's dumb.
No use. Does it always take this long with you?
I don't know what you're talking about. Like I put the broken toy piece on the table.
Good. And she immediately just starts staring at it through the magnifying glass. But she actually does a thing where, as she's looking at it, she goes, "So you mentioned those polyhedral dice?
Yeah. Want to check them out?
Yeah. What about them?" While I'm taking a look, so I'm going to get him distracted and talking about what he wants while I investigate.
You bastard.
Take note, everyone.
Look, I've got 3 in empathy. I know what's going on here.
Yes, you kind of like start looking at the at the toy. It's really, really kind of, you've got Tinker, haven't you?
I have one in Tinker, Program, and Calculate.
Yeah, so you kind of have a look. Absolutely, it's servers. It's like all the right kind of stuff for mechanics and for robotics. It's just on a very small scale. You use the sort of like little screwdrivers and little kind of devices to have a look. As you're sort of looking into the leg, you can kind of see that there's a little, past the servers and stuff, there's a little serial number, and there's also what looks like a business address or something. As you're sort of looking into the address, you can just make out the word Stenhammer. Then Anthony, what was the toy you picked up, or did you not pick up a toy?
No, I didn't pick up a toy. I only grabbed the broken piece.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you kind of look at it, and just as you look at it, you can see that the leg's sort of like moving as soon as you're sort of messing around with it. And it has an address of a factory where the toy was made, which is just outside Stenhammer, and it has got the little emblem of the woman who's created it. It's got VOSS with like a diamond shape around it for Helena Voss. And so you kind of like wait for this sort of something else to happen. The other kids kind of like turn up at the hideouts.
Well, I'm just gonna say, like, as I sort of noticed that, I turn to Anthony and go, "Oh yeah, so you roll them? Oh, this one's cool." And I'll pick up the D4. What do you play games with them?
Yeah, it's for Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, cool. Do you have any paper?
Yeah, I got loads of paper, and I grabbed my Trapper Keeper that has my D&D campaign written in it, and I like flip to a blank piece of lined paper,
Right.
and
Can you write this down for me? And then
Sure.
she reads out the address. Stenhamra. Yeah, there you go.
Do you want to make a character?
Maybe. How long will that take?
20 minutes, maybe?
Maybe.
I think that sounds like, as you kind of agree to sort of like start character creation, you hear the sound of the others joining you in the hideout. And I think that seems like a perfect place to end it for the session.